Good time, Timmy Doyle, Todd Fuhrman in the mix, fellas. Minnesota able to win outright as a 6.5-point dog in game one. That one coming in well over the total. Vegas has adjusted the numbers, but not by much. Just 2.5 added to that total, coming in at 240.5 this go around. Wolves again getting 6.5. Timmy, what's your game script look like for this one?
Oh, I am hammering the Grizzlies here. Okay, now I was pressured by someone. I'm not going to name their name. Teddy Greenstein, he works at PointsBet. He was trying to pressure me to bet the Grizzlies before the playoffs started. Now I got tax season coming up, and let's just say my taxes weren't exactly in line for 2021. So I had to pump my brakes on the Grizzlies World Championship bet. They lose. So instead of getting 12-1, which I saw 15-1 everywhere else, now I'm going to get 20-1. I'm going to hammer them at 20-1, okay? And I'm going to hammer them to go out and cover this game. The T-Wolves are an AAU team. What do I mean by that? Well, when everything is going right, they're amazing. When they shoot 16 of 41 and Beasley comes off the bench and has 23 points and Anthony Edwards has 36 points, they can certainly beat anybody on any given night. I thought the Grizzlies got a bit overwhelmed by the moment. I thought like every time they made a giant comeback, the Timberwolves made like an impossible, like gut-wrenching three. They got outscored, the Grizzlies did, by 27 points at the three-point line. I think the Grizzlies are going to give the Suns and or the Warriors a heck of a matchup, a 7-game series. I think there's immense value there, and I expect a massive bounce back here from my Memphis Grizzlies, so I am hammering Memphis here minus the points.
Tim, I can only imagine what life is like for your accountant as he goes through all your 1099 tax statements. He tries to figure out those travel and entertainment line items for New Orleans and quantifying 36 hurricanes and Lord only knows what else showed up on some of those CBS receipts a few weeks ago. But we are in lockstep, my friend, in making a case for the Grizzlies here to bounce back and do so in dominant fashion. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with Memphis. I think that was a team that the moment was too big for them in game one, and they looked tight early on. I mean, Taylor Jenkins came out in the wake of that performance and said it had been a minute since we played, and with young guys, you have to get into that rhythm, into the flow of the game. They spotted the Timberwolves an 8-point lead and weren't able to rally back in that spot. You look at how Ja Morant played in the game. Didn't shoot the ball overly well from the floor, just 8 of 18. He lived at the free throw line going 16 of 20. But I think this is a spot where Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have done what they needed to. They got the road win. They flipped home court advantage in their favor. So who could blame them if they take that collective sigh of relief in this spot? I really believe you're going to get a Memphis team clicking on all cylinders offensively. Tim talked about the disparity from beyond the arc. And I think Memphis in the first quarter, first half, full game, all worthy investments to make in this particular spot. I don't think this game is particularly close. Memphis evens things up at 1 apiece and wins this game by double digits.
All right, so it's Grizz any way you can get them. Both of our guys in lockstep on that pick. And we know Tim Doyle feels good about his picks when he goes first, and then Todd Fuhrman echoes that same sentiment. I know that warms your heart, Timmy. Why don't you warm us up here with a player prop, TD? Who you got your eye on the board?
Yeah, I think this is bounce back for everyone on the Grizzlies, and a lot of responsibility fell on Ja Morant. Have you checked out the Grizzlies' record without Ja Morant? They would be the best team in the NBA if you put them over 82 games without Ja Morant. Who's his running mate? Desmond Bane. And he was subpar. I'm not saying this guy's a perennial all-star, but he has a lot of, like, Chris Middleton in his game, where, you know, Chris Middleton's now an all-star, but we don't think of like Chris Middleton as a superstar player. That's Desmond Bane. He was only 6 of 17 in game number 1, only had 17 points, but you could kind of compare his numbers over his first couple of years in the NBA, Todd, and they resemble a lot of like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I don't think he's going to be that type of player, but he has that kind of upside, and at least the numbers say so, and I expect Grizzlies massive performance. I think Bane bounces back.
You know what, Tim? I mean, when you look at the way Bane played with Ja Morant's shell for extended periods of this time, he was truly a revelation for this team that didn't miss a beat in terms of bringing energy, bringing athleticism, and more importantly, scoring. And I did toy with the idea of going over his point total, but ultimately settled on another running mate of Ja Morant, this being Dillon Brooks. I know this number has moved against me throughout the day, 21.5 at Caesars earlier, down to 20.5. But you look at what Brooks can do. We know he can light it up from the outside. His field goal attempts in game 1 were actually the fewest over his last 9 games. And this is a player who I think needs to raise his level of play along with the rest of the Grizzlies starters. They can space the floor accordingly. They should be able to penetrate, get Brooks open from deep. And I really believe Dillon Brooks has a big game. I think he flirts with the 25-point threshold. I'm happy to go over his number at 20.5.
All right, recapping those plays again for the sandwich game. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. Both of our guys making a case for the Grizzlies, laying the 6.5. Obvious letdown spot for the roadside here. Maybe resting on their game one laurels, having already accomplished at worst a split. Desmond Bane is Tim Doyle's player prop over his 18.5. It's an over for Todd Fuhrman as well. He's targeting Dillon Brooks' number.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.